kailangan bang i-involve ang HR? So we had a discussion there na kung ganito yung, kumbaga, scope ng work, may assessments, merong mga ganyan, then kailangan involved ang HR dyan, no? Because sa industrial setting or what we call organizational setting, ang HR, ang kumbaga, sabi nga natin, puso at saka isip ng organization where we really get to connect with the people and we get to develop them and manage how it would be a mutually beneficial relationship between individuals and the institution.
Actually, this prolonged pandemic, it's actually causing a lot of mental health issues. Okay, so and it's so serious that even PhilHealth, there's an announcement, there's an interview, and there's a news item that they're actually considering to have a mental health package included under PhilHealth, which can be implemented or will be implemented by next year. So that's a development. Anyhow, okay, so so we've invited our friends. Okay, so they've been going around the communities. Okay, and then they've been actively helping out as well. So they are the founders of. They are the founders of. Let me see. Okay, they are from the Center for Mastery and Lifelong Learning. Okay, so we have Mr. Michael Liu. Hi, Michael.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
And Miss Candy. Hi, Miss Candy.
Good evening, Miss Tina and Ken.
So how are you guys?
Michael, how are you?
Yeah, we are good. We are good. Actually, we feel very blessed that, despite pandemic, despite all the situation, we were able to help more people than ever. No, well, in some way, I don't know if you are saying that it's actually a good thing, but a lot of things actually bubbled, surfaced, and we felt blessed that we were actually around. And then of course, we are not the only one, but there are a lot of people who were really with us. Like, for example, since last year, we have more than 55 volunteers, professionals who are constantly, very actively helping people who actually call in for help. So I personally, I feel blessed, and so we have so much we would like to share tonight, and let's see how things goes. But we have so much we want to share with our audience and all the participants of HR Shouts and Whispers, and thank you so much for having us here.
While enduring the pandemic, why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your requests for a particular video and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video for the details. Oh, Miss Candy. So Miss Candy, actually, I found out she's also part of the GC, okay, who does volunteer emergency services. So hi, Miss Candy.
Hi, Miss Chris. So yes, thank you very much for inviting us HR Shouts and Whispers. I was specifically excited kasi by the name itself, these are the things that you would really like everyone to hear, like the shouts that we would have, and at the same time, there could be topics that we would be like talking in whispers because we're not yet just that sure of how to navigate through it. And I think that this had been a very good platform. We're on the 93rd episode, no? So congratulations for that. Natuwa talaga ako. Sabi ko, wow, parang It's nice to have this virtual events that we could really get in touch with different communities and know that there are a lot of like-minded individuals who would share the same passion and would have syempre, we have different ideas that we could all learn from each other.
So, Michael and Candy, so you have Mindwell and then you have the Center for Self-Mastery. So can you just give us like a little bit of an explanation of what these two institutions or organizations, what do they do, so that our viewers also will know how to contact you as well?
Mhm. Yeah, so thank you so much for the opportunity and also this platform. So we actually started way back early 2010. Center for Mastery and Lifelong Learning. That's actually one of the core organization where we are right now a CPD provider for PRC, for also a lot of different organizations, continuing professional credits, right? Um, we conduct a lot of trainings, we conduct a lot of management consulting efforts for different organizations. So people that we actually serve, from educational institution to private organization, government. So basically everyone, we have been rendering. But as we move along, we wanted more distinct products in terms of what we have been offering. So we separate our organization to having one division handling all the management consulting efforts. CML remains to conduct all the training efforts. And then we also have CML mental well-being and psychological services, specifically cater to all the well-being requirements. And of course, we have Mindwell. Mindwell is actually a joint partnership with our one of our esteemed partner, Aventus Clinics. Because of working with them, we actually have 18 presence immediately within the metro and surrounding cities, and also we are also serving all their clients, which is multiple HMOs. Maybe later on, as we discuss, we can talk a little more about them. Candy, would you like to add more?
Well, that's what I like about the HR shouts and whispers. I could be more like personal. So Michael would take care of all of those. Organization, ganyan. So CML really started, una po, hindi po siya Candy, Mauricio, and Michael Lu. CML.
Yun nga yun eh.
Ang CML po.
ko nung una eh.
Kasi may mga nagtanong sa akin ng ganyan, no? CML is actually meaning niya talaga is Center for Mastery and Lifelong Learning. And I think that was really nabuo siya noong 2014 to be exact, no? Siguro a bit of a background. Michael was my mentor when I started management consulting. By profession, HROD po talaga yung tinahak sorry. No, so although my college was BSA Psych, I got myself involved in the HR field, and knowing that I don't want to lose the knowledge and the passion in psychology and in the different settings of HR. So since I graduated 2003, I was doing HR in pro bono kasi call center ako noon. So I was doing HR pro bono, tapos dahil call center sa gabi, sa umaga humahada ako ng pro bono for guidance and counseling for mga out of school youth, yung mga ganyan. Tapos kapag kailangan ng mga assistant counselor sa DSW, actually POEA pa noon, sa OWA, for mga na-traffic na women, then I would be able to share what I know, my knowledge then. Tapos yun, so it eventually grew. Syempre, ako rin tumatanda. So, nagkakaroon na ng flavor in terms of how I could really integrate it. So, by mga 2009, we were able to create what we call CORE. Ito yung nagkaroon na ng counseling law. So, sabi ko, nagkakaroon na ng boses ang mental health. Dahil na-acknowledge na natin ang profession for people development. Kasi dati pagka hindi ka magaling sa math o kaya ayaw mo masyado mahirapan, mag-psych ka. O di ba may mga ganon? No, pero hindi nila alam, gosh, kung gaano kahirap ang ating mga
Yung yung thesis ng psych, mahirap kasi statistical, yun, you have to,
Yes. So, yun nga, parang ikaw, paano ba i-quantify ang isang matter na hindi nag-occupy ng space at doesn't have weight? Yan, mga behavior, di ba? Mga intangible na ginagawa natin sa assessment ng psych. So, going back, so in 2009, we have this program called Counseling Offices for Retention of Employees. So, it was really more of doing touch base. So, bago magkaroon ng HRBP, no, mga HR business partners, it was a call out na, uy, as HR, we can't just do the transactions of comp and ben, recruitment. No, kailangan bumaba tayo sa anong nangyayari sa operations. Huwag tayo laging nasa, when I talk about baba, it's really seeing the applications of the documents and the strategies that we would like to have. So, yung ganyan na nangyari, by 2010, yan yung sinabi nga ni Michael that we started off, we actually built 3 mobile schools in Mindanao. So ito yung large scale ng out of school youth alternative learning system with DepEd. And it was to me, syempre I'm entitled to my own opinion, HR shouts and whispers to. To me, it was a revolutionary program that we get to understand. The program was actually called ALEAP. It's Alternative Learning, Livelihood, and Employment Assistance Program. And the core there was that merong Lego block ng educational setting for out-of-school youth needs to be more relevant, more on the ground na we're learning while we're applying what we do. No? So, malaki din dun yung practice for the HR because we were recruiting not only the students but the teachers as well. Ang take namin dun, hindi mo kailangan let passer, hindi mo kailangan na teacher ka agad kasi yung mga tinuturo natin dito is really lifelong skills. Hindi lang to yung math na kailangan alam mo yung calculus. Dapat alam mo saan mo gagamitin yung calculus. Parang ganyan. No? So, we had to do, I was immersed there for more than a year. Tapos, we turned it over the LGU. Yung mga naging students namin became scholar ng Mindanao State University. So, we moved on for balik akong corporate. No? So, when I was working with corporate, dito na pumapasok yung hindi magkakaroon ng cyclo. So, may mga consultative meetings na kailangan bang i-involve ang HR. So, we had a discussion there na kung ganito yung, kumbaga, scope ng work, may assessments, merong mga ganyan, then kailangan involved ang HR dyan, no? Because sa industrial setting or what we call organizational setting, ang HR, kumbaga, sabi nga natin, puso at saka isip ng organization where we really get to connect with the people and we get to develop them and manage how it would be a mutually beneficial relationship between individuals and the institution. So, yan, 2012, tapos syempre, meron din naman ako sarili kong buhay, so nag-asawa ako, nagkaanak kami, syempre medyo kailangan kong tumahimik ng konti sa mga ganyan, no? But after that, yung nagkaroon tayo ng psych law, pumasok na rin, moving forward dun sa ating mental health law, I really saw that right now, it's a matter of parang sabi mo sa sarili mo, oh my gosh, it's about time. Sana matuloy natin to. On another note though, syempre when we're talking about this happiness that we have dahil for once narinig na yung mga needs talaga ng tao, we know that we also need to do a lot of work because not only is there scarcity of these professionals, siyempre yung resources din, hindi naman ganun kadali. Kumbaga, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin, I mean, let's face it, hindi naman lahat pwedeng i-pro bono. Hindi naman lahat, hindi magkakaroon ng professionals dyan kung puro pro bono ang mga nandyan, diba? And if we would look at it, syempre, look at it on the global setting, we're still a third world country, like it or not. Of course, we don't like it, but, that's something that we need to progress with. So, that's how Mindwell was brought in. While we are working on providing the continuous professional development for psychologists for the 43 councils of our country, mga licensed professionals, we did see na kailangan magamit din natin yung ating HR and OD hat na large-scale implementation to. Hindi to yung, ay, kailangan na mental health law, raise your hand kung licensed ka, raise, yung ganyan. Tapos kayo lang yung gagalaw, di ba? And of course, getting into the community of people who are really passionate about helping others, like Ken, like Michael, like yourself. It's not always about license. It's about how you work on your profession and serve the community, that you make things better for each and every one. And I think yun yung, nandun yung in between the cracks na we get to appreciate as HR professionals so that we could advocate that mental health. Kasi at the end of the day, you can't really talk about mental health if there's no quality environment, when there's no support system, when you don't really get to share what could be a way to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah, I agree. Ang daming concepts niyan, Candy. But this is a very holistic approach, and then Michael and you together, you bring in your very rich, of course, network and experience. Kasi actually, it's actually very important during this time because we didn't know that the pandemic, which started out as stemming from a virus, okay, as predicted this year, it's actually now a mental health pandemic. Okay, so a lot of, even like you were there in the group chat, and you do know that yesterday we had some commotion because there was an incident actually, ladies and gentlemen, in Makati. It involved an 18-year-old male, okay, and people had to rescue him. Well, he is now in good hands, but that was the commotion in our volunteer group. It's also a volunteer group with our previous guest, si Sir June Del Ponso, okay, of SOAR. So you see that during this time, a lot of people are volunteering their time and expertise, okay, to address this it's actually kasi parang integrative yung problema eh. If it's not financial, it's going to be mental and, psychological. So our HR professionals, okay, so since they are frontliners, so they are actually since last year pa to, and then continued yung kanilang stress level. They are actually on maybe on the brink of insanity. Okay, so just very quickly, if you were an HR professional nowadays, Candy, because you're somebody also in HR, how would you address the stress?
First, you need to recognize that we are stressed.
Yes, of course.
Kasi, and it's easier said than done. Because as HR professionals, or as HR practitioners, the moment that we got into the field, no, as HR, parang first, other than it's a thankless job, andun yung, hindi natin alam kung sino dapat gagawa nun eh. Baka HR. Diba? And that's a given mindset. Kumbaga, ang mahirap doon, yung boundaries that were set is not that clear. At the end of the day, yun yung, ako personally, yan din yung mga check-in sa akin ng both my mentors and mga colleagues ko when we talk about extending that help. Because we need to acknowledge that the stress that we have is not just because of work. It's because we care. It's because we got into this work because we saw that there is a sense of personal fulfillment for us in doing what we're doing. And that's additional emotional baggage. Kasi kapag ka hindi mo mabigay yon, parang, shucks, may incompetent ba ako? Kulang ba? Ano bang? So, nagkakaroon ngayon ng spiral down. Imbis na nagiging ilaw ka or to give that light, because everyone with who are confused with a lot of things to ask goes to HR, and you would like to take on everything. You get to realize na, uy, hindi pala ganon. It's only magnified in the clinical setting. Parang now that I'm also practicing a lot in the clinical. Napapansin ko nga, no, parang sa HR kasi ginagawa natin yan. But of course, hindi lang kasi yon. Meron kasing but of course na hindi kasi individual lang ang inaasikaso mo. Merong organizational. So, on your end, lagi ka na dun sa, kasi I needed to balance it. Pero external, most of the time, yung nakikita nating balancing. Well, in fact, it has a lot to do with ourselves in the profession, in the field, in the environment, whichever setting that we are in. The mere fact that we could care so much that we are in this profession of helping an organization and helping individuals in their personal and professional growth, tall order yun. Diba? Parang ang mental health is one of, I would say it's really one of those, the pillars. But we know that it has to be systemic. But what we can do now is leverage that. Yun yung maganda dyan.
See what people do in the organization. They always say that, okay, so when people are, they're lost and they don't have guidance, siguro they don't have guidance from their inner circles, they look to HR. They would ask for informal advice. So that's what they do. And it's hard for HR people to tune out. Even if you're too tired, you cannot just tune out and, turn off your mobile phone or turn off your group chat or whatever the channel is. Ito si Ken. Si Ken, he actually was busy for the past few days. Have you been tuning out, Ken?
Tuning out? Hindi. Sakto lang. Siyempre palagi dapat naka-tune in. Because siyempre, importante yung attention natin. Diba? Very, very important yan. Chris.
Okay, so anyway, so thanks, Ken. Na-miss ka lang namin.
May kumato ka sa window yan.
Ganyan dito.
Di ba? Anything happens, diba? Let's go.
Minsan nga may nagdi-deliver pa. Okay, but see, Michael, okay, so yes. with your kasi we were talking about the effects now, okay, and there are people, okay, they seem to cannot distinguish kasi boundaries, and one of it is social media, kasi right now everywhere you turn it's bad news, even with that Delta Plus variant it's still more bad news, okay, so So I actually have my own coping mechanism. But what can you say about, all these fear? Like, meron pa nga mga terms na vaccine hesitation, vaccine, I don't know. What can you say about all these fears?
Actually, I would like to also start with what you just asked, Candy, in terms of stress. And one of the things that I have been noticing for people who actually can be calling in for support, for help, is that, just like what you said, in terms of boundaries, they do not know the difference, or they couldn't differentiate if they are already stressed or they are already overwhelmed. No, because we all know that right amount of stress really keep us going. But there are already people who are in extreme stress, yet they totally do not recognize. And one of the very easy thing, and I think Ken also knows this, one of the easy way I actually do share with all our callers is this. I just literally invite them to hold your fist, hold as tightly as you can, just until you feel the tension. And then when you are holding it so tightly, suddenly I will invite you to let go. Let go. Okay? And the difference between those two is really the relaxation that you have been missing. So your body have been chronically stressed for so long, you feel like that is normal. Yung tension that when you are holding your fist, and that is actually causing a lot of excess chemical unnecessary in your body, right? And this is also part of the things that literally drive, like what you mentioned, in terms of the fear, in terms of uncertainty. These are the very, very common things that when people call in for help, it's really it's beyond their control. People couldn't get a good grasp of the type of control that they used to have, and they do not know what is in store for them tomorrow. Is it safe if I go out for a walk? Is it safe if I just go out and even just going to palengke? right? Even this, there used to be certainty and those are none. Right now, most of the people are literally panic over the sense of the panicking, right? They don't really know even where they're heading. So all of this, the unnecessary stress, the anxiousness because of the uncertainty, um, it's overflowing. And you also make a very good point, Miss Christina, that mental health right now is the next wave of pandemic. And we are already starting to see it. It's really everywhere.
Yeah, because actually the report was in that news article, there are 3.6 million Filipinos who are experiencing these issues. And well, they don't have access because that's why PhilHealth will is mulling over making a package out of it. So actually I shared it with some of our friends this afternoon, and a lot of these HR people that we know, they're actually very feisty. But right now they keep on saying, ay, napapagod na ako, 'di ba? But these people are very strong personalities. It's impossible, parang magugulat ka that they would say, ay, mabuti naman may ganyan na sa PhilHealth, and then it's being taken seriously kasi they don't know if they could hold up. Yun. Sabi nga nila, they just want to stay sane. Yun.
Yes.
Ako kasi, I stay sane by laughing. Oh, ayan. Yan lang ang ginagawa ko. I mean, kami dito sa Asia Shots, you see us all the time, we laugh, but we're very serious people. Kasi pag masyado nakaka-wrinkles na. No, guys, actually what we do, we just take things lightly. Okay, pero pag seryoso usapan talaga. Okay, so yes, Miss Candy?
Yeah, I think coming from the vaccine that you shared, no, one of the concerns ng HR natin yan. Kasi ang mga tanong sa akin ng mga clients ko, so paano po ba, mag-order ba kami o dapat sa LGU? Kasi meron naman sila per LGU, di ba? Parang meron tayong at their own home. But of course, the organization would also want to have a program for vaccination. No? Tapos nagkaroon nga ng rollout na would it be lawfully kumbaga favorable na maging mandate ang vaccine for individuals kasi nga iba-iba naman yung perspective natin about that. And I think sabi ko nga ang sagot ko sa mga client ko, anong comms nyo?
Yes.
Kasi with or without, it's really how you would advocate the why of that vaccine. Ano ba yung gustong sabihin ng kumpanya nyo? Bakit kayo magpapavaccine? Kaya nyo ba papavaccine para pumalik na sila lahat sa trabaho at hindi na work from home? Kasi those are legal implications as well, di ba? May scientific yan. Sabihin nila, vaccinated na kayo, bumalik na kayo sa trabaho, bawal na mag-work from home. Di ba? Yung mga ganyan. So,
actually, that's how, kasi when I answer that question, I don't really say if it's legal or not. I just say what's practical. It's really, kasi, kasi there was a confusion because the DO, the department order actually says to be non-discriminatory if your employees choose not to be vaccinated.
yes.
But the issue is, so ito ang tanong ko kasi sa clients ko, ikaw ba gusto mong tumabi sa tao na hindi vaccinated? And what are the people, the employees thinking of it? Will they be calm and be able to work if in case they will sit beside a person that's unvaccinated? If you can answer that with a yes or no, okay, that's among your group. You seek them out. You get their... Kasi this is the time kasi that you bend something, okay? Kasi kung consensus naman nila na magpa-vaccine lahat, then just do it, diba? For me, that's how to do it. Kasi sakit sa ulo yan eh. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a practical person. I just want things to work. So, that's my point of view in that.
Yes. Actually, Cristina, what you shared is very powerful. Kasi at the end of the day, these are the what I would call hunting questions for inclusive workplace. Diba? Kasi it's, I agree, sobrang challenging yan. Parang, so ano yung mga tinatawag nating key scenarios that could happen? Kaya to me, yun yung tanong ko sa kanila, anong objective nyo? Kasi if you are true and authentic to what you want to happen, kung klaro ka sa intention mo, it will come out with all the plans that you need to do, di ba? It can come out as favorable for everyone without that discrimination, without even having to go to in-compliance. Kasi as we know naman in HR, ang in-compliance ang pinaka-lowest level of adherence, di ba?
Yeah.
So,
Kasi right now, I understand, okay? I think there's nothing wrong to discuss it in forums, okay? But what I'm worried about is when people say, when they drop, is it legal? Is it valid? Is it reasonable? Kasi for me, okay, I'm not part of the organization, but you, okay, you can go back to your group and then you can ask them that question. Basta, alam mo naman pala yung question na itatanong. So, hindi mo itatanong sa tagalabas. Itatanong mo doon sa mga tagaloob na kasama mo. For me, that's the most practical thing to do. Kasi when we start going into alam nyo, kami ni Ken, actually, I've been an HR practitioner, but actually, I've been following Ken kasi Ken looks so young, and Ken just goes for the jugular. And you know what he does? Okay, tatanungin, kasi it's just very straightforward, okay? If you have conflict, those two people who are fighting, wag nyo na lang pakialaman. Sila muna mag-usap, okay? Ganun lang.
Manood, di ba?
Diba? Kasi sometimes the issue is not even, it's not even about policy. It's just about personality issues. It's a clash. So don't make mountains out of molehills. For me, that's the easiest way, because at the end of the day, HRs now they need that energy to be part of yung crisis committee, okay, business continuity committee. So I think that these issues are communication issues. You're right, Candy, and then it's also dependent on the goal of the company. And I think,
Chris, mabato tayo ng question dyan. Is it your job to fix it? Di ba? I mean, for example, there's a conflict in the office, okay? And then you're either the direct superior, you're either the HR, or you're either or an office mate. Okay, so for example, you're taking the role of the office mate. Is it your job to fix it?
Kasi kung bystander ka lang, meron ka lang,
Di ba amplify?
Amplify. Minsan kasi yung meron ng nakikialam.
Yung nakikialam yung wala lang. Ba't kayo nag-aaway? Hindi yan, di ba? Sometimes it just
mali ang ginagawa mo. Ikaw ba yung naapektuhan?
That's a perception of the office mate. Pero again, siguro on my standpoint, di ba, wala ako kayo HR, kayo yung nandun sa lines na yan. Pero siguro how I look at it logically, it is the duty of the superior and the immediate superior, and it is also a duty of the HR. Pero siguro if yung mga kunwari office mate ka na sasawsaw lang, makikigulo lang doon, I mean that could amplify that could just amplify. It's not even your problem, it's their problem. And then that could also add stress to you, because even though na you're just a bystander pero nakialam ka, now you're part of the problem. It just, everything could have been at peace lang sa'yo, just watching. Wow, good job, di ba? But now, nakialam ka, wow, tigil yan. Tapos nasuntok ka, di ba? Kasama ka na ngayon sa problema.
No, I realize kasi that's what office life is. May nagmimiron. I mean, somebody nagmimiron, somebody amplifies, they like the conflict, di ba? But kasi ako so I've been in operations, I've been in I was in advertising. Doon kasi parang sa amin kasi threshold namin for conflict mataas. So unless there's something, at least unless nagpatayan yan or something really was was breached, like it, something unlawful happened, hindi kami nangikialam. O, bayaan mo silang mag-away dyan, di ba? Ganon. Nobody really tells HR. And I know it's true. Okay. And then when I became HR, alam ko na yon. Nobody tells HR talaga. Okay. But at the end of the day, HR kasi, a good HR manager should be able to sift through what's important and not important. O yun. Kasi don't waste your energy as well, and don't waste your team's energy. It's about energy, Ken. Mm-hmm.
Shopping nga ako ng crystals eh. Kaya sabi
Diba?
Sabi ko, subukan ko nga. Subukan ko nga ito.
Tinan mo, actually kami dito, minsan sinasabi namin, guys, kasi kami, we know that it's actually already emotionally charged when people talk to us. So, minsan nagpapatawa ako, like, kasi, anong role mo dito sa, I really ask, okay, Miss Cristina, may conflict sa office, etc. Ano yung role mo? Ikaw ba yung HR? Ikaw ba yung tao? Or ano ka? Sasabihin nila, ano lang po ako, friend lang ako. So, yung sinasabi nyo yan, baka interpretation mo lang yan ng event, and I don't want to answer your question because I might fan the flames pa. Minsan may ganun akong sagot. So, going back, okay, so, Michael, before we went, this is like something impromptu, okay? So we're talking about kids, okay? Because we have also, most of our professionals, of course, are parents, and it's the end of the SEM. So somehow I was asking you, I was just very curious. Kasi parang this month, May and June, parang the students have been stressed out as well. And actually, I'm curious because yesterday, it was an 18-year-old male who was trying to attempt suicide. So, what can you say about that, the atmosphere among our students?
Well, I think there's a lot of getting used to in terms of online learning. Even though we see a lot of benefit, there are also a lot of things that's not yet ready. One of the things that we have seen, I mean, not only May, I think as early as March, we're starting to have a lot of parents, teachers, schools reaching out because they are really good students. There are a lot of really good students who are not able to cope one way or another in terms of priority, in terms of time management. I mean, there's so many reasons, and they're not all the same. No, but the pressure is mounting because there are people who are graduating, people who are moving to the next semester, for the next school year. There are people who are actually moving on to the college, and a lot of them don't know what to do, including teachers. I mean, they don't know if they need to be a little more lenient, even though most of the schools that works with us, they have been at most lenient. Given all the benefit of doubt, anything that they can use to support the student because they know it's difficult. But again, there are also a lot of students who have been doing really, really well, who are not able to cope right now, who seems to be beating themselves up quite a lot. These are some of the students and parents that we have to work with very closely, just to help them understand where they are, and then also work with them in terms of what they can do, they can have a better control of. No, Candy, you want to jump? You want to say something?
Yeah, for students. So what can parents do to actually do well? Because most of them maybe notice some changes on their children, especially studying habits. Okay, some students who were very interested, maybe their favorite subject was math, and then suddenly nag-diminish yung interest nila dun sa subject. So that could be a sign of something. Do they need, what should they watch out for?
Well, first, to address what needs to be watched out for, yung 3 early warning signs naman natin would be yung changes in sleeping pattern, hindi sila makatulog, hindi sila makakain, no? Or yung abrupt changes of the mood. So hindi katulad dati, no? But I think as parents, what would be most important for us to understand is kung tayo, 'di ba? there are times that we feel our work could be our life. Malaking issue kapag we're not performing well at in the office, no? O kaya pagka nag-away si mommy at daddy, no? Both mommy or daddy, pagka nag-away parang ang buong mundo mo na yung asawa mo, no? So yung mga ganyan, we would need to understand that it's also like that for our children. Pagka hindi nila magawa yung homework nila, parang buong mundo na nila gumuguho. Pagka yung crush nila hindi sila kinausap, parang wala na silang buhay, yung mga ganyan. But what needs to be very sensitive, and ito yung kumbaga daunting reality, unlike us as adults, when we are feeling that way, we have that independence. Kaya natin sabihin, ay, ayoko munang gawin yan. Itutulog ko to, iinom ako, or tatawag ako, o magsha-shopping ako, mga ganyan, di ba? Before and up to now, at least merong time na makakalabas tayo. Hindi tayo kailangan, Mami, Daddy, pwede ba akong lumabas muna? Mami, Daddy, pwede ba akong umiyak? Because right now, even that crying, hindi na magawa ng mga bata because they're all in one place, lalo na kung work from home, hindi na nila maitago yung nararamdaman nila, which could be to parents, sasabihin nila, yan lang ang problema mo eh. Thinking of their own problems.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's actually the cramp. Minsan kasi cramp.
Yan lang.
Oo, the lang eh. It's the
Quote and quote
pinag-aral
lang.
na kita eh. Binigay ko na sa'yo lahat eh. Ano pang issue mo? Mag-aaral ka na lang eh. Di ba? Yung mga ganon.
Well, mahirap mag-aral pag ano. Kasi actually, I understand because I have like young learners with me na parang they got shaken up kasi they cannot see their friends.
Yes. So parang tayo as parents, alam mo, paglaki mo, hindi na lahat yan magiging kaibigan mo. So stop it. Di ba? May mga ganyang, I mean, we don't say it or
your only job is to study.
Diba? Parang, and even if we don't say that, if at any hint in our mind or in our heart, we feel that way, mararamdaman ng anak natin yun. In our non-verbal cues, alam yan ni Ken, alam yan ni Mike, alam yan ng mga nagmo-modeling ng NLP, diba? Those micro movements in our body, ramdam na ramdam yan ng mga bata. Especially, sensitive sila dahil vulnerable sila at that time. That they are hurting, that they are confused, that they are feeling unpleasant emotions for them. So, lumiit na nga yung environment kasi hindi na sila makapag, yung mga students, diba? At least pag nag-away kami sa bahay, pagdating ko sa school, pwedeng kalimutan ko muna ang away sa bahay, mag-aaral ako mabuti. Eh ngayon, pagka nag-away sa bahay, magkukulong ako ng kwarto, tapos maririnig ko sa labas, tingnan mo, nagkulong na naman yan sa kwarto, napagalitan ko lang, gusto ko pong mag-aral na. Diba?
Wala talaga siyang walang clear boundary. Parang, diba, it's like, kasi I think the human mind kasi parang is used to like the compartments, okay? So,
Cristina, paano magkakaroon ng boundary? Pamamahay ko ito.
Yeah.
Kita.
Upping.
Diba? Yung that sense of vulnerability, if we get to just reflect on that as parents, siguro one way or another, ma-extend pa natin kahit na 1 centimeter lang ng patience uli dun sa mga anak natin. Kasi yun yung parang tinatawag na natin yung huling hibla.
Yes.
Yung mga ganyan.
So, actually, that's good that you mentioned that. Yung konting-konting tiis or patience. Yes, Ken, you were going to say something.
Yeah, just looking at the example, very, very, ang ganda ng example eh. So, siguro, that we could also take this time to tell our friends who are watching right now. You could connect with Candy and Michael with this one. I mean, as parents, I mean, I'm not a parent. Ayoko pa. Wala akong plano. Pero kasi look at this. Understanding how your kids learn or how they mold, how they think or yung emotions nila. understanding how that works can help you be a better parent. Again, as it was talked about na, parang hindi naman siya talaga na pag-uusapan. Micro expressions, subconscious movements, people get ano yan, subconsciously we get to communicate with that non-verbal cues, and we get to understand how that works subconsciously on the subconscious level, because our mind gives meaning to things. So sometimes yung kausap mo yung anak ko, biglang gumanon lang, and then you're like, diba? I mean, that's there's a meaning, yung movement na ganun, there's a meaning na nakadikit sa ulo mo na kaagad So, pero again, if you get to understand that, okay, baka subconscious lang yan. Oh, why do you think your mouth moved like that? You could always ask without even addressing it ng, away tayo, diba? Bakit tumaas yung boses mo? Galit ka na. Diba, pwede naman tumaas na yung boses, diba? You'll never know. But again, this is where professionals come in, because you could ask how what it means, so that you have a better understanding, and when you're more aware, you could easily address and adapt to certain situations. Yun lang. Yeah.
Actually, kasi that's what I think most of the, kasi this one is an aspect of stress.
Kala ko
Professional aspects. Aspects. Okay. It's an aspect of actually, yung worry ng professionals. Kasi so they have the ones happening in the office, and then mostly they have children, so they also they're not really quite well versed of what's happening also with their kids. So that's also adding a layer of stress. Kasi bakit ganito yung anak ko, di ba? Or lagi kami din nag-aaway ng anak ko kasi may yung mga issues niya with school, in school, okay? And then sa online, actually nakita ko kasi yung mga parents, they monitor, they micromanage their kids. Pati sa online classes, sumisilip-silip sila. So hindi lang baka recite yung kid nila, nag-iisip na sila na, uy, may problema yung anak ko, yung ganon. So ako sinasabi ko kasi sa kanila, that's why sometimes maybe you can have like one-to-one, then have them in a group, and then see. Hindi siya yung dahil isang session lang mag-react ka na. Okay, so
yeah, actually, everything that we share so far about the parenting issue, about communication with the kids, we have a lot of that example, especially because we conduct a lot of trainings. Okay, and I think it's very relevant to our topics today about helping the HR professionals becoming the mental health advocate. Because a lot of the time when we share that skills, the first thing that we actually let all the participants do is to actually learn in terms of how they are actually communicating. Because more important than not, it's that skills that, like we talk about micro expression, we talk about, communicating subconsciously. When people are more aware what type of messaging they are actually delivering, then they can actually also starting to adjust in terms of how they would want to communicate. And this is actually essential, especially when people come to you asking for help, right? What type of approach do you really need to do at that moment that will be supportive for the person? Is it still you talking the way you do and telling them or lecturing them or giving them all the things that you know and you feel like it will be helpful, or just being able to be present for them? And I think that is also one of the things that's really not done even by parents, because like what Kendi was mentioning, a lot of the things that we assume we already provide, we already given, right? And we feel like we have done our part. But for them at the moment, especially during pandemic, the sense of belonging, the sense that they are important, the sense that they're being cared for, needs to be more explicit than ever. So and I think that's also the same thing, even in the workplace, the support needs to be more explicit than ever. And then letting people know that they have people that they can turn to, and not just like rolling a dice and see who will be the next person on the phone book I can talk to. Parang ganun.
Well, ito, guys, Michael and Candy, do you have like a specific training, like something about a certification for mental health first aid? Do you have that in your program?
We actually have quite a number and catering to different levels. No, we have the mental health first responder. That is actually a certification program to help people in the event of suicide. Okay, but we also have the mental health psychosocial support. That is basically the first level support of people in terms of emotion stabilization on how to. It's like the mental health first aid is just going to be a part of it. So we actually do have programs. We also have programs specifically in terms of communication. We call it love skills. Maybe Candy, you will want to expound on some of these programs that we
Yes,
have.
please. Yeah.
Like, no.
No, just kasi we've been receiving a lot of questions, okay? And maybe it's the lack of the knowing the terms or jargon to
Yes.
inquire about those programs. But kasi ang alam lang nila is yung certificate for mental health first aid. So
Yes.
if there's a variety, kasi some people naman don't want to do first aid, they probably want something to support, okay, or
Mhm.
maybe to diagnose. Or so can you elaborate, Candy, on other programs?
Yeah. So actually, like what you shared kanina, Christina, we have an approach that is systemic saka for the institution. So it's called the empower. So empower actually means enhanced mechanisms to promote opportunities for well-being, enhancement, and responsibilities that is going to be in the organization. Now, ang tanong na next dyan is, anong appetite nyo? Are you looking at yung pang mental health first aid nga, which is for the ERG, yung mga emergency response group, o kaya yung mga business continuity plans, no? Or are you seeing this integrated to your current L&D? So, ito yung sa leadership skills nyo na alam naman natin, and I think yun yung advocacy talaga na as HR, hindi siya yung productivity ng job description na about functional. Alam naman natin ang competency model natin would be not only on the technical skills or leadership, meron talaga dyan na across yung ating behaviors. And that's where the love skills comes in, wherein kausap mo yung mga tao mo, people under you or across the organization, and you get to promote strength-based mental health. So promotive and preventive approach to psychological harm.
Kasi yung HR, okay, yung management, they have that, okay? They have that in their program. Pero yung nag-i-implement, kasi most of the time, it's actually the line managers. So, this is like parang we've been saying na you have to involve the line managers in that program. Kasi si HR lang yung supportive. Pagdating sa line manager, toxic.
Yes, agree. And that is also why even in the government, those that we have done, mga train the trainers din, they do comply with what we call yung prime HR that our CSC, no? Has actually implemented for a number of years already. Now, moving forward as well, at meron din yung mga specific for industries naman, di ba? Like, yung ni-share nga ni Michael na mental health psychosocial support trainings, there are LPUs that we have trained na yung mga volunteer nila kasi gusto nila magkaroon ng helpline within their community, yung mga tinatawag na CSWD, hindi siya DSWD kasi dun sa mismong local, no? So what happens is they would be able to know how to respond either through their helpline, no? That kumbaga parang like Red Cross na we become escalation point, or for other institutions that we are also tapped as affiliates or partners, no? So they know how to do stabilization, they know how to respond kung merong mga immediate like either suicide or domestic violence, no, na kailangan ma-address at that moment.
Oh, that's interesting. Kasi, they actually with the HR, kasi they're being told lang it's just part of the policy, and then they don't know how to actually build the group and then mobilize it. So that's a good no jumping off point. So guys, if you're interested, and because of all your questions, okay, after this session, you can actually get in touch with Michael and Candy right away, and then so that you can jumpstart your mental health programs already. Okay. Yun. Kasi palagi nilang sinasabi, bakit HR lang palagi nag-train? So, do we need to include the line managers? Of course, because they're going to be you're the ones who's going to do the legwork, and then they are the ones who are with your people 8 hours a day, maybe even more.
Yes, and actually, yung mga trinain namin, other than yung mga HR, sobrang tuwa sila na they get to be part of that. And the line managers, they get to understand, ay hindi lang pala to as me as a manager in the organization, because these are life skills. They get to practice as well sa bahay nila, and especially for their personal consumption. Syempre, hindi naman tayo makakapag-heal ng iba kung sarili natin hindi rin nag-heal in the process. We all know that. So one way or another, we all become wounded healers as we go through this process of being able to connect with one another and advocate mental health.
So there. So actually, we've been monitoring. People are silent now because actually they're absorbing all these new concepts. Kasi they're always used to a paradigm. Okay, that there's a. I know a first aid program is good. Okay, but this one is actually has a lasting effect on the organization. It's more integrated into the culture of the organization. Very
Yes,
org
and
dev.
yes, because our background, I think Candy mentioned, we actually came from management consulting. So we really wanting to look at everything systemic, and not to mention that we are also both in the field of OD. The consideration is that whenever we want to roll out a policy, we need to make sure that all the scaffolding and all the support is also there. So we believe that all the frontliner, meaning where the people will first turn to, usually peers, if not peers, their immediate supervisor or immediately team lead, they are the first level of support, right? That's why whenever we roll out the program, we include them as part of the support so that they know what to do. And usually it also helps them becoming a better leader. Because now they find out that, we know the leadership, communication is one of the top leadership skills, right? Before you talk about anything else, and if you couldn't express yourself properly, no matter what you have a well intent, you just have to hope that people feel it, or else they wouldn't also understand where you're coming from. So how you are helping them to express themselves, how they are actually showing their concern, the genuine concern, not just because of it's part of the job type of setting. And on our end, in terms of so if who we have actually also supported, we have supported organizations such as governments such as AFP, DSWD, DOH, Field Health. We have conducted multiple mental health training for them, and of course we'll continue doing so. And like Candy mentioned, also multiple LGUs are tapping on us so that we can also help themselves, and then to be able to so that they can also help more people. That's why I think this is also very aligned with what Candy mentioned just now about the Mindanao project, where they do not necessarily need yet to become a lead passer, but they can already do something. Right now, we also believe strongly on that. People can become a mental health advocate, maybe not to the point of healing or treatment, like a professional psychologist or psychiatrist. But in our little way, if we know much more about how to help people with mental health concern, we ourselves is the frontliner for anybody who needs. So I think that's one of the things that we are really driving at, and supporting the community and everybody who reach out.
Okay. And this is my question, okay? So Candy and you were curious, okay? How do you distress? Because I think you're exposed to a lot of this messages, okay? These toxic messages. So how do you distress, Michael? You seem to be so composed.
Well, I think that's definitely part of the profession. But first thing first, you need to be able to do it yourself before you can actually share it with anyone else. So my personal routine literally is practicing breathing, and I think I share that with almost everybody who comes for support. My breathing routine, which is definitely the first thing, and of course praying. Prayers is still very very important. Even like just helping to take, like when people come to us and tell us about their problem, in many ways we are also co-sharing all the weights that they have, and of course we in our own little way, when we do the prayer, it also is trying to help release and relieve to things that we cannot control, right? There are so many of those around us, and of course family time, definitely that's part of how I personally relieve stress.
Yeah.
How about
How
you,
about,
Candy?
yeah,
Mm.
Candy. I'm curious with Candy kasi Candy's so jolly. Oh.
Jolly! I think, actually very reflective ako. I think that's one thing, like, nag-lecture ng levels of stress. Well, I think, where I'm coming from is when I feel that I'm already stressed. Ano na yan, parang I would already look back to ano yung purpose. And then I really have a lot of self-discussion. Tama ba, Mike? Na yung mga tipong, minsan may mga tanong ako na kaya bentang-benta sa akin ng shouts and whispers. Kasi ginagawa ko siya sa sarili ko. Yung mga tipong parang, sabi ko, alam mo, minsan naiisip ko, BS yung parang kanina lang, BS yung parang always think of what will make you jump out of the bed. Kasi right now, I feel like I'm really living what I want to do. But there are really days that you like parang, pwede 5 minutes lang, wait parang 2:00 na ako natulog kagabi. Yung mga ganon. And that's where you learn na you have to also practice self-compassion. I mean, I would have to, first, kasi nandun yung self-awareness na eh. Siyempre, hindi mo naman pwede magturo ng self-awareness nang hindi mo na nakikita yun. Yung mga tipong, minsan naharap ka sa salamin, burnt out na ako. Paano ako haharap sa kliyente? Tapos, ilabas mo siya. Ako nilalabas ko siya. And I think Michael would witness that with our teams na sasabihin ko, okay, can I get my list of clients na para alam ko kung hanggang kailan ako pwedeng umiyak. Yung mga ganun. Kasi, I have to admit that as a therapist or as a counselor, mahal mo yung mga kliyente mo eh. You would really care for them. Just as like HR, di ba? Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na, HR practitioner ako, magpa-power trip ako ngayon. Di ba yung mga ganyan? Hindi ka magtatagal sa profession mo kapag ka ganun. But once you get to accept na, okay, that's the calling that you answered. Then, what you need to do is prepare yourself. And so that includes preparing ano ba yung personality mo? Ano ba yung mga coping na pwede mong gawin? So like what Michael said, my support system would be definitely Michael, my kids, and the people who believes in what we do. Kasi hindi ko naman masasabi din na madali yung ginagawa natin. Hindi ko rin masasabing madali akong kausap. Alam ni Ken yan. Minsan ang gulo-gulo ko, di ba? Minsan I'm flying all over the place, di ba? Hindi siya, like ganito, I love talking like this, pero that's also the reason why I need PowerPoint, because I could really go around and, we can talk like up to 2 a.m.
Fun lang, di ba?
And I think yun yung nakita ko na, to me, it became not only an opportunity for growth, but to expand and to see when you're expanding, it's not just you having to go that effort of expanding. Kasi as you expand, merong mga nakikilala like you. Di ba? Parang first time natin mag-usap and then we get to know na we have pala shared passion, we have pala mga connect. So you're not supposed to do it alone. Yung mga ganyan. And that's also where there was a time I was discussing about Mindwell and then there were concerns na, oy, meron tayong mga kasama ditong life coach, meron tayong mga sabi ko, well and good because that's what we would need in the community. Mindwell is not this is Mindwell and you're not. So, we're like competitors. We are actually, to me, like what I was sharing with Michael, we're really more of like, we are hub. We are a hub. We are, if you think that you love what you're doing, you're passionate about it, and you know that we are serving something that is greater than us, join us. Kasi lahat tayo magbe-benefit dito dahil there are so many people who needs this. And they need different strokes. Hindi yan pwedeng puro si Candy lang. Hindi yan pwedeng si Michael lang. Hindi yan pwedeng yung mga psychologist o mga psychotherapist lang. Iba-iba rin yung kanilang ginagawa. But of course, as we all know, we would need continuous improvement. We would need different supports. Some would need, paano ba mag-document? Paano ba mag-discern? Paano ko ba malalaman kung higher level of care na? Pag mag-isa lang tayo, minsan, di ba, it's hard to ask kasi baka iba yung isipin nila. But when you're in a community, meron kayong talagang may case conference, you get to say, ay, mali yung ginawa mo, so ganito natin aayusin yan.
That's good.
Di ba, yung ganong kind of, hindi ka matatakot na makatulong kasi alam mong meron ding sasalo sa'yo.
Tsaka may guidance, di ba? Kasi
yes.
This is like a very delicate, parang it's a delicate condition, And sometimes even if you have your MA, you cannot really, can you predict human behavior? I don't think so. And you cannot even go and examine the human mind kasi hindi mo naman physically makakalkal yan, di ba? Yeah. That's why, I looked at your website, which is Mindwell. It's interesting. So it's supposed to be a platform, okay? And then if you want to volunteer, you can sign up. So how do you join Mindwell?
So let me just share the tagline from actually Mindwell is to provide accessible, complete, and quality mental health and well-being support services through competent and compassionate mental health professionals. So we are really building a community where when you are discussing, there's no stigma and discrimination when you are discussing situation or maybe your personal concern, mental health wise. And all the answers are being provided also by mental health practitioners. So you're not just going to get people, just pulling out, I don't know, maybe formulas out of thin air and maybe you can try this and that. But it's really professionals who will support you. That's the type of community we are providing. And yes, we are constantly on the lookout for more volunteers and also professionals who would like to join us. Like Candy mentioned, we have a full-blown clinic, and then we support people from all the way from mental health, from helpline. So we have a helpline. We also have mental health consultation. We have counseling, coaching, psychotherapy. We also have diagnostic by psychologists all the way to psychiatrists. So it's a full end-to-end support in terms of mental health and well-being. And in terms of inviting people to join us, you can reach out to us through Facebook. You can look for Mindwell PH. Mindwell PH basically is where you can reach out and then we can talk about how we can invite you, give you personal invitation to join us in the community.
Yes. Kasi HR Shouts and Whispers, okay, we've actually become a connector of these groups, okay? And then actually we're very happy that you also wanted to be interviewed by us, okay? So that's why we were interested kasi ang dami talaga, and as early as August, even like July 2020, there were a lot of HR professionals na talagang gulong-gulo na sila And some individuals who are not, they're from other professions and they ask for advice. Of course, there's Ken, okay, and then there are our moderators, okay, from various disciplines, okay, but maybe this one it will take it will take a really a very expanded community to address kasi ang dami talaga di ba? Ang daming mga sanga-sangang mga conditions, okay, that maybe people needing just conversation, okay, or really uh deeper sessions, okay, with
Yes.
professionals.
Marami ako ipapasa sa inyo.
Mm.
Mike, Ken.
Oo. Hindi kasi actually this like yesterday from 7 a.m. meron na nag-PM sa akin, gano'n. Tapos
Yeah.
so at least it's another authority, okay? So kasi yung mga dati like we have our moderators, they're also fully booked already. So
Yung sa amin naman, Chris, hindi naman siguro yung just to point it out din, kasi yung sa community namin where we don't give yung mga babasahin namin talaga yung nararamdaman nila. We just work as like coaches. So technically, pag kailangan nila ng meds or talagang professional psychological help, we still connect with psychometricians, psychologists, psychiatrists. So, yun, nandun na rin sa community nila, Michael and Ken yun. So, yun, message ko kayo if ever. Kasi maraming cases ngayon ang na-handle naman ng community, yung sa NLP Hypnosis Philippines. And ang nagiging concern naman din kasi, parang yung iba, lalo na yung mga bagong certified, they can't, they can't fully discern pa on what specific yung nararamdaman ng tao. Yeah, I'll connect some people to you.
Yes. And actually we've been getting yung for some reason, okay, the ones who are really parang suicidal, they have, I think they PM me, okay, so I tell them to calm down first, and then we actually touch base with a lot of our professionals, okay, if there could be further assessment. Of course, yung mga yon, they know naman na may bayad na yon kasi it's like a deeper assessment na it's not just the usual that we do here in HR Shouts. There. So that's good. Yay! So that's another, di ba? As an additional network. And then, of course. And guys, okay, so very briefly, okay, so people nowadays, when they deal with stress, they look to something else like a hobby. But I'd like to ask you, and just if there's a quick answer to it, how do you deal with developing addiction? Yung mga naging shopaholic kasi shopping na ng shopping. This is actually for the benefit of the husbands who cannot deal with the credit card bill. So, when is a hobby? Okay, when does it cross a line to addiction?
Ayan, naku.
Dito yung asawa ko sa Vicenia. So, hindi ako ganun.
Like, would you want to answer or would you want to answer?
Go ahead. Ikaw muna, sige.
The clear part there is if there's any disruption to your functionality. No? So, kung ito yung tipong you shop and then you realize wala ka nang pambili ng pagkain, o kaya sirang-sira yung budget mo, that you're really in deep debt.
Naghahabol.
Kumbaga, you can't, meron ng dependency, or yung, when we talk about addiction kasi, pag hindi mo siya nagawa, wala ka nang ibang magawa. So,
yes.
Yung ganong kind of dysfunction. And well, I'm sure the hypnosis and NLP has a lot of ways to be able to address that.
Ken.
That. Baka gusto
anong specific ba? Shopping? Ano ba?
Naging shopaholic na yung mga tao.
Shopaholic? Well, siguro kung tingnan natin yung stem niyan. I mean, what ano yung root? What's the root of it? I mean, are there any emotions triggering it? I mean, when do they feel that they need to shop? I
Kasi
mean,
ito, yung sa Lazada, pagka, di ba? Every June
7-7 na.
wala kaya
block mo yung
yun.
Lazada. I mean, it depends. Eh. Is that emotion helpful? I mean, if shopping helps them feel relaxed, I wouldn't stop my wife from doing it. I mean, she worked hard for her money. Bahala siya dun. Di ba? Sa akin, ganun. I mean, darating araw-araw, may Lazada ano ba yan? Kasya pa ba yan sa kwarto? Hindi ko na alam. I don't know. Pero as I see, she works for it. She's happy buying those things for her. I'm just happy for her. I mean, but when it becomes an addiction, you'll see siguro ayoko kasi gamitin yung word na yun because if it comes to that word, iba na yung nagiging meaning nan for different people. I'm so addicted to it na. Does that mean that when you're addicted, you can control it? For most people, they say that when they're addicted, they can't control it anymore. So the first goal that I'll do is what can lead to control.
Mhm.
Yeah. We could even simplify things. I mean, it's
I think
processes for it.
Yeah, so I think that's very much like, for example, people turn to those because of certainty. When you buy something, you expect something, you know you're gonna get something. That's why people also go for games. They know that if you play a certain way, you are going to win certain thing. It literally, first thing, it shows that people are needing something to grasp on. And secondly, and as Ken also know very well, we want to know what's the positive intention behind it. There's always a positive intention that serves them. What is it serving? And then we will try to help them figure out, is there an alternative? Is this the best way to really address that positive intention? Maybe there are certain other things that can help replace it. Okay, but of course, that's just the general sense.
So parang like what Michael and Ken was sharing. So yung nagsimula ako sa definition, 'di ba? And they have shared. Ito yung first looking into the intention and of course giving them that choice. Kaya 'di ba? Kaya like with Mindwell, we have what we call yung Mindwell Care Club. Kasi ito yung a preventive and a promotive approach to mental health. So, yung buong well-being mo, like part of the benefits of the club is that you have what we call psychoeducation. So, imbis na pag-usapan natin yung pagiging addict mo to retail therapy, which is shopping, no? Why don't we talk about personal financial resiliency? Diba? And in that in this module that we have, we don't just talk about your money. We talk about what is your thinking process and what is your meaning behind spending this money.
So, it's actually parang siya, you're building building blocks to cope with it, parang ganon. And then also informing and educating the individual. So, actually, I just wanted to ask you about addiction because I see a lot of people post it on social media, okay? I see like they keep buying this stuff, okay? Especially nga when there's a sale. Nabudol daw sila. That's the term. So I'm just curious because, the husbands, I always also see, okay, that they're whining about the credit card bill. So at least daw. Diba? There's something for everybody here in the discussion.
Correct. Ano lang yan, how I would put it is, there is a key. And the key is that the knowledge empowers you. Yun ang key doon. So you need to be able to understand what would be the deeper meaning so that you can address that and arrest what is the progression ng nangyayari towards yung mga negative, disruptive behaviors nga.
Yeah, because it only becomes negative when it actually impedes you towards something. Okay, ito nga, when you're trying to, hindi ka na makabayad ng kuryente mo because you keep on buying those things. Ganon. So it's like a disruption. So thank you guys for being game. Okay, that's another impromptu question. So anyhow, okay, so actually, okay, so we came to understand what your organization is. Okay, so Mindwell is interesting, and so is the Center for Mastering Lifelong Learning. Okay, so it's good to know that there are a lot of ways. Okay, if for professionals and also other professionals, not just HRs, if they want to understand this phenomenon better. So good that so you guys, okay, we encourage you talaga to reach out and connect with Michael and Candy. So anyhow, okay, so Ken, okay, Michael and Candy. So we are about to say goodbye. So are there any webinars coming from you towards the week?
For me, wala, ano naman, I'm still doing cryptoman. Still helping people get to understand cryptocurrency, how to trade, where to invest. Pero right now, yun lang, stay tuned to get to understand more about cryptocurrency games. That's where every game is going right now, play to earn. So games right now are offering options in where you can earn na ngayon. And again, for fellow Filipinos that want to earn and make a living out of just staying at home, playing some games, I do think it's something that you should check out
Yes.
kaagad. Yun lang.
So actually, that's
Sayang, sayang
another way.
opportunity. Yeah, sayang opportunity. I mean, people are earning like from 10 to 20,000 to over a million a month from just playing these types of games. So sayang, financial freedom. Yun lang.
Okay, so Michael and Candy, any webinars or any information that, where can they, the fastest way to contact you is on Facebook, is that correct?
Yes, yes. The easiest way to reach us is through our Facebook, MindwellPH. So fb.com/MindwellPH. You can message us there, and we can share with you more information about the community that we have, and also the mental health care club that can be mentioned. So other than the monthly learning session for all members, it's actually free once you become a member. It's a year-long thing, and you also have unlimited helpline. So in case you just need to have somebody to talk to as a member, you can easily do so. Plus, of course, we do also screening and also a lot of other benefits. So reach out to us, and then we will share with you more about what we do. And we also always welcoming professionals to join us. So do reach out, talk to us. Now,
Message
Cindy.
lang. I'd love to
Oh,
help the cause anytime.
yes,
Lalo na sa
yes,
inyo.
please,
Just message. Yeah.
And
Cindy.
how about Candy?
Wait lang, bookings, joke. There would be an annual, pwedeng mag-plug,
Sure.
may annual conference po tayo sa PMAP. On day 2, nandun po tayo. We would be discussing about mental health. So it would be an honor, and of course, as part of the community ng HR, hope that we could see as many of our viewers there, and of course kayo, Miss Cristina and Ken, no? Kasi ito yung mga what would really help us. Kasi sa mga HR functions, ano na yan alam na natin yung mga technicals dyan. Pero yung sa mental health, ito yung alam natin kasi tayo mismo meron nun. Innate, di ba? So, always something new and something worth to learn.
Okay. Well, it's always naman good to explore. That's why kami dito, we are ano ba to? Dora the Explorer, or we actually discover a lot of throughout our journey since having our first FB Live interview. So we have connected with a lot of professionals who have shared their insights and also their services to our members. So actually, we're just overjoyed that we were able to also connect with you, and yun nga, to have also have some clarity on certain programs
Yeah.
that people can take advantage of. Yun. And moving forward, so I'm sure you guys, okay, our viewers, okay, just keep on watching and keep on messaging us for topics that you want to be discussed. And then in the next few days, okay, we will be adding something to HR shouts and whispers. So just watch out for the announcement. And of course, okay, for our next episode, okay, so we've gone through this journey this June, okay, about safety, psychological safety, and physical safety, and also addressing conflict in the workplace. And then on Tuesday, okay, at around 7 o'clock or 6:30, we will be having another. It's actually just a bonus FB Live presentation, and this is featuring a businesswoman. Okay, she opened a cafe in Tagaytay, and she's operating it. Okay, and she's been doing well during the pandemic. So just watch out for our announcement on that interview, and I hope that that would serve as an inspiration to those who want to open their business as well. So yeah, and guys, so nice interview, nice session, and I do hope that we can, have like something going on after this session. Okay, so without much ado, good evening. Okay, and to our viewers, okay, I hope that you'd have a happy weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Bye bye.
Thank
All
Bye.
right.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank
During the pandemic, why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your requests for a particular video, and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video for the details.